You all have probably heard of the Boston Tea Party, but I'm here to give you more context on it. The Boston Tea Party was an American political and mercantile protest on December 16, 1773 by the Sons of Liberty in Boston in colonial Massachusetts. The target was the Tea Act of May 10, 1773, which allowed the British East India Company to sell tea from China in American colonies without paying taxes apart from those imposed by the Townshend Acts. The Sons of Liberty agreed that the taxes in the Townshend Act was a violation to their rights. The Sons of Liberty responded as to some disguised as Native Americans, destroying an entire shipment of tea sent by the East India Company. The men boarded the ships, throwing chests of tea into the Boston harbor. The British government considered the protest as an act of treason and responded harshly. Then this act escalated and turned into the American Revolution, becoming a one-of-a-kind American history event. Ever since, more political protests such as the Tea Party movement have thought to themselves as historical successors to the Boston protest of 1773. The Tea Party was the culmination of a resistance movement throughout British America against the Tea Act, a tax passed down by the British Parliament in 1773. Colonists objected to the Tea Act, believing it had violated their rights as Englishmen to no taxation without representation, that is, to be taxed only by their own elected representatives and not by a parliament in which they were not represented. The well-connected East India Company also had been granted competitive advantages over colonial tea importers, who resented the move and feared additional infringement on their business. Protesters had prevented the unloading of tea in 3 other colonies, but in Boston, embattled Royal Governor Thomas Hutchinson refused to allow the tea to be returned to Great Britain. The Boston Tea Party was a significant event that helped accelerate and intensify colonial support for the American Revolution. Parliament responded in 1774 with the Intolerable Acts, or Coercive Acts, which, among other provisions, ended local self-government in Massachusetts and closed Boston's commerce. Colonists up and down the 13 colonies, in turn, responded to the Intolerable Acts with additional acts of protest, and by convening the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia, which petitioned the British monarch for repeal of the acts and coordinated colonial resistance to them. The crisis escalated, leading to the battles of Lexington and Concord on April 19, 1775, which marked the beginning of the American Revolutionary War.